Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Keep it coming. I'm waiting for others to join. Please, guys, do me a favor. In your rooms, in your classrooms, or in your on your WhatsApp groups, can you drop me or drop your colleagues a quick message in the groups to tell them that, hey, we've started. If they're running late, they should quickly join us. Please do me that favor, please. Everybody, please support your other colleagues. Let them know that we have started. Let them know that we have started. Let them know that we have started. Okay. Thank you for sharing in the rooms. Thank you. Please drop the message in the rooms. Let your colleagues know that we have started. Let them know that we have started. We'll start officially in the next 3 minutes. So please buzz them, remind them, let them know that we have started.
I'm coming, please.
Thank you for joining this session. It really means a lot. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Keep it coming, everybody. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Let's see. All right. How many of you guys were at the graduation today? How many of you experienced the graduation? Can you drop it in the chat room quickly? Guys, this is supposed to be a very lively session. So if you are still lying down on your bed, this is the best time for you to stand up. This is the best time for you to stand up and get ready. This is learning period. Okay, Oluwaseun says, he or she, I don't know if Oluwaseun is a man or a woman, but Oluwaseun was there. That's some fantastic things. Guys, keep it coming. How many of you guys were at the graduation today? Okay, she. Oluwaseun is a she. Oluwaseun, thank you for attending. Okay. Chinedu, mute yourself, please. Mute yourself. Mute yourself. Now, guys, today we're going a bit deep dive into some job mentoring. That's what we are doing today. Ezekiel, thank you for joining. Aliu, thank you for joining. And guys, let's quickly do a round of introduction. Your first name, where you're joining from, and the course you're doing at Utiva. Quickly, guys. Quickly, your first name, where you're joining from, the course you're doing at Utiva. So for me, for example, I would say Italia is my name. That's my first name. I'm joining from London. The course I'm doing, let's say product management. Just do it together. Do it together like that. Quickly, guys, quickly. I want to know the people that are with me on this session. Secondly, you can see that secondly one. I had to emphasize it. If you're able to turn on your video to join me in this program, if you're able to turn on your video to join me in this class, I will appreciate it because I like to see my students' faces. I don't want this to be like a radio conversation where my video is off, your video is off too, and then we are just doing radio conversation. No, I want you to be a lot better than radio conversation. I want you to be much more interactive where I'm able to see you and you're also able to see me. So if you're able to turn on your video, that will be a fantastic one. But if you're not able, well, don't worry, I won't take offenses. But I won't see you. So nobody in this whole class is able to. So I see Chinedu is joining us from Nigeria, data science. Who else, guys? Keep it coming. Chidera is joining data analytics from Nigeria. If you know your environment is not comfortable, you can turn it off. Don't say Itayo says you must turn on your video and then it becomes a must. You can turn it off. Adedayo, data science. Okay. Guys, keep it coming. I want to know where you all are joining me from. Now, today is a 1 hour mentoring session on jobs. Today is a 1 hour mentoring session on jobs. And I want to keep it strictly to jobs. Strictly to jobs. Strictly to jobs. So, now I'm already late into the session, so I wouldn't waste time again. I'll just go straight into the conversation. We can get started. Again, just like I mentioned, today, mute yourself, please. If you're not talking, mute yourself. Today we're just going to focus we're going to do a deep dive on jobs, focusing on how to prepare for jobs. What are the themes that you must have? Your CV, your LinkedIn profile, your cover letter, and I'm going to show you in a very practical way the things that you must do to have those things, sorted. So Juliet is joining from Lagos, data science. I see Jessica here too. Jessica from Abuja, product management. Osarabo is joining from Slovakia, cybersecurity. Joy from Canada, cybersecurity. Uduku from Lagos, data science. Germany, product management. I see another product management, Abuja. I see it's like Lagos 1. Okay, Lagos 1. So I see a few other people from other part of the world, but it looks like Lagos actually won. So today, guys, again, as I mentioned, we're focusing on, the things you must have to be able to really, prepare for the job opportunities that are out there. Now, guys, let's be more practical. I'm going to start with this. Remember, I don't know how many of you got my emails, but remember that, Faith, I'll send you, Faith, can you help me add Francisco to this session? Because Francisco says he would like to join. Now, remember, guys, that when it comes to getting a job, you're selling yourself. It's about selling oneself. That is what you are there to do, to sell yourself. And if you undersell yourself, there's no way the employer will know that you're good anyway. There's no way. The employer will never know that you're actually that good. If you undersell yourself, there's no way on earth that the employer will know that you're actually very good. The message in the chat, my laptop froze. Looks like my laptop froze. So if you don't sell yourself well, there is no way I will know that you're actually very good. There's no way. I will just assume that you're not that good. So getting a job is about selling yourself. Does that make any sense? It's about selling yourself. And in the last email I sent to you guys, I said there are 3 different ways, there are 3 different things I've seen out there. Some people sell, their past to employers. So, for example, if you ask me and you say, "Oh, hey, Tayo, can you tell me what you will do? No, can you tell me what you will do if your engineers, as a product manager, if your engineers don't meet up?" I'll show you this in reality so that you will understand what I'm saying. Can you tell me what you will do if your engineers are not meeting up to the standard? in terms of quality, delivery? If that is a question for me at an interview, there are three different perspectives. The first perspective is selling my past. Selling my past is saying, oh, in the past, one of the things I have done is to say, I will get them into a meeting, or I got them into meetings to understand what are their challenges, right? I'll get them into meetings to understand what are their challenges, what are their barriers, and I will try to understand things from their perspective so that I can lead them, appropriately. That is selling the past. That is the typical answer that every other person will give. And that's one of the things that make most people struggle in their job, interviews. They don't understand that they need to rise above every other basic, response to questions. So, for example, they say, oh, introduce yourself. Oh, Itayo, good morning. How are you? Can you introduce yourself? Oh, my name is Itayo. I am a product manager. I have worked, that's the typical answer, right? I have worked in product management for the past 3 years. My first role was in Lagos, where I was a product manager for a fintech company. I led the team of people. I built, two different softwares. The softwares are there in the market. Da, 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 da. Are you joking? They want to, every other person they interview sounds that same way. They all have previous experience. They all have things they have done in the past. They all do. That's the basic. So what you have done is that you have set yourself to be at the same level like every other person. Now, listen to me. That is how to start. That is called the wedge. That's how to start. You start by selling yourself, showing that you meet the same level with every other person. And then you sell yourself above every other person. Above every other person by showing that you're able to do more and you're able to be more. And that's one of the things you need to figure out. So, that is the thing we're going to talk a lot about in our next class. I'm just telling you that when I sit on the board of more than 14, or as an advisor, more than 14 of my mentees that run companies. I have, some of my mentors that run companies in the UK. In one of my mentors actually just sent me an invitation on the 6th of March to sit on another interview board. And when I interview people, when I talk to people, and then I say, oh, Adedayo, I don't know why you guys are not turning your videos on. It's driving me nuts. I like when people turn on their videos. You guys are getting me crazy. You need to show me your faces. I like Ezekiel. Good. That's my brother for almost 10 years. Ezekiel, you guys, I don't know why you guys are turning your video. Good to see you, Ezekiel. Good to see you.
Greetings, sir.
Good to see you.
Yeah, greetings, boss.
Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know why you guys are not turning your videos on. You are driving me. My head is I like when I see people, just seeing you guys get my energy up. I'll start to call your guys' name now, one after the other. So you need to realize that every time you sell yourself, you are selling yourself from two different perspectives. The first perspective, thank you, Aliu. Good. Good. Aliu, you were not wearing that shirt before. But now that yeah. Good. I caught you there, bro. Caught you there. Good, good, good. So when you sell yourself, you meet every other person's standard. But you then need to begin to sell yourself above the standard. You need to go above the standard. And I will give you a framework when we get to class next week. I'll give you a framework that you can use to go above the standard. Every industry has things that they look for when it comes to above the standard. Every industry. And if you can if you can tell me how you are above every other person, you win. So today, let's start with your CV and your LinkedIn. That's what I want to start with today, quickly. But I want to use a different perspective today, a different perspective. So can someone give me a field, data science, cloud computing, product management? Give me a field. Drop it. The first one, product and digital marketing, business analysis. Just drop a field so that I can use that, or a track. I can use that as a product management. Aliu, thank you. Product management. So guys, follow me. So I will, please mute yourself if you're not talking. Mute yourself. I don't want to take away that right from you guys. Mute yourself. Always remember to mute yourself. So people are in the waiting room. Allow them. Remember, Faith, don't abandon me. Allow them. So I'll share my screen quickly because now we're racing against time. Faith, I can't share my screen. I don't know what is going on. I can't share my screen. I think you need to quickly give me that right to share my screen. Faith, make me a trainer so that I can share my screen. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to quickly show you. Okay. And Faith, can you mute everybody and take away that mute right from them? Because now people are really disturbing me with the way they are muting themselves. Thank you. Now I can share my screen now. Thank you, Faith. Good. Now, so I want to show you guys the way this works in reality. So let's quickly go deep dive into it. I'll go on my LinkedIn and then I will go on the product. I will go on jobs. Yeah. I'll go on LinkedIn and then I will go on jobs. Now, what I want to do is I want to pick product manager's job in any country. It doesn't matter. So, for example, I will just say product management job in, let me pick one. I'm trying to look. Figma. Okay. Figma is a very big, successful company. Figma is looking for a manager. This is a manager. Figma for education. This is not a product management role. Jinsk. Let's pick this product manager role in the UK. Now, this role is a junior role, and they're looking for someone who's going to do this role. £33,000. I think that's very small, anyway. But this is a junior role. Anyway, it's a junior role. So let's look at this. The first thing is for you to understand the job description. That's for you to understand the job description for you. Now, I want to believe that everybody on this call has a CV, right? So let's say you have a CV, a standard CV, right? This is a job description. The first thing you want to do is to first understand this job description. That's your job. You want to first understand the job description. So what I will do is that I will go to ChatGPT, right? And say, I am using the premium ChatGPT. You probably wouldn't get the same type of experience, but I'm just putting it out there in case you start to feel like, oh, it's like the Italian's ChatGPT is more advanced, so don't worry. It's going to be very close. Or you use DeepSeek. If you want a better experience, you can use DeepSeek, okay? Now, what I would do is I would say, review this job description, analyze this, and highlight the core responsibilities, roles, expectations, skills needed to. Now, what you want to first do is to take that entire job description. That's why before you submit a CV for any job, you must spend 5 minutes on it. 5 minutes before you go and submit. Because if you don't understand the job description, you will submit a blind CV that does not align with the job description. And you might think that it does align with it. But by the time you submit a job description that does not align with the job. Sorry, they submit a CV that does not align with the job description. What will then happen is this. You are now in the top 90% of those that, let me tell you how people win, how people get jobs. I'll quickly tell you how people get jobs. Now, this is what happens. This is usually what happens. This is how people get jobs. There is the bottom 90%. There's a bottom 90%. You know what the bottom 90% do? They just randomly submit CV and hope. Hope is not a strategy. They then hope that they will be invited. They do not do any form of research on the job description. Do not know anyone in the organization. They do not know anything. And when I say anything, I mean core things like, for example, if you're going to be a product manager and you want to get a job with an organization as a product manager, you must sign up in the organization's product to understand, to see how the product works yourself. So these guys, they don't do anything, do not know anything about the product or the organization. They are lazy. They want to get the value, but they are not ready to do the work. Now, others that do the work, they get the job, they now expect that, oh, it's because they join NSPDC. And what's that thing called? NPD, that thing. What God cannot do, that they think is because they joined. I'm like, nah. That guy that is giving testimony in that church spent 3 hours in doing research. But we don't tell you that one. We now say when the pastor said, when the pastor said your job is coming today, you know how many people heard it? That your job is coming today. 30,000 people were in that program. They heard it. One person gave testimony. You now think it's God is partial. No, you are lazy. You didn't do your homework. No, you didn't do your homework. You didn't do your homework. And you see, our people always think things come by luck. They always think it. Forgetting the fact that, no, it doesn't. There's a place of luck. But preparation is the fastest way to win. Now, I don't want to bore you with my motivational speak today. So, you see, 90% of people that are here, 90% of people that are here don't do any little work. They don't. They don't conduct any interview, any research. No, they don't. They just submit random CVs. So, your job is to first say, hey, and that is why it is better to apply for jobs now, because the world is better now. You have DeepSeek, you have ChatGPT, you have all these tools. So you can just go here and say, review this job description, analyze this job description, and I like the core responsibilities, the roles, expectation, and skills needed to get or land this job. Then I would now post the job description there. I will then post the job description. That's the first step. So what would happen is that the CV, this ChatGPT, it deletes, it takes away unnecessary things and then focus on the most important thing. Focus on the most important thing. So it has highlighted the things now, saying these are the core responsibilities. These are the core responsibilities. These are the core responsibilities. Okay, that's the first step. Now, the second step, you will now say, imagine you are applying for this role. What are the things that will be in your CV and cover letter to prove? Now, this is the part that is very important. To prove empirically, quantitatively, that you meet all the requirements, right, for this job. So the first thing you've done is that you've identified the things that they're looking for. Oh, in terms of skills needed, product marketing experience, product portfolio management, market research, sales enablement, data analysis, communication. In terms of the roles, subject matter expert, strategic contributor. These are the things that are mentioned in this call for application. But that is not where it ends. For you have highlighted all the things, but I want to say, I know these are the things that they are looking for, but what would you have put to show that you have all those things? You then submit. You send it to ChatGPT. he then begins to highlight. So, in other words, it's already taking you to your CV. It's already taking you to your CV. Now, because you probably don't have this type of CV, I mean, many people on this call are just starting. You probably don't have this type of CV. So that's where the first struggle starts. You don't have this type of CV. Now, what do you have? You then take your CV. That's giving you the standard. You then take your CV. You then say, adapt. Where do I have a CV? Where do I have a CV sitting down? Where do I have a CV sitting down? Let me see if I have a CV. I don't want to use any random person's CV. But guys, any product manager here that can just quickly give me your CV randomly? If you can. I don't know how you will send it to me. If you can, anybody does. If you do, I will just use yours as an example. But what I want to do is to say, adapt my CV to yours. Now, you have to instruct it not to lie. You have to instruct it not to lie. Otherwise, it will then begin to hallucinate. Adapt my CV to yours. Take the things in my CV, rewrite, restructure, and change to align with what you have highlighted and the type of CV that you have created. No, we're not going to say the type of CV. We'll say the quality of CV that you have created. Now, let's see. Does anybody want to volunteer to give us a CV that we can use? Any product management CV that we can use in the room? Please, you guys are not allowing these people to enter into the room. Faith. Okay, so since nobody wants to volunteer CV, I will go find a CV. Right, I'll go look for a CV. So let me see, where can I get a quick CV that I can adapt? Let me see. So where do I have a CV that I can adapt? Let me check a CV here. Okay, let me pick my CV, my very old. I think this CV is not for this type of thing, because this one is for something else. Let me look for another CV that I used to have. I think this is another CV that is okay. This CV is for something. This is not the typical CV. This one is for something else. So this one might not meet. I wish I had a CV that I can quickly use. I think this is another CV for something else. Whew. But the goal is, if you take a CV, you can then Oluwaseun, your CV is in German. I mean, I can download a CV quickly. Okay, I think Oluwatosin just gave us a CV. Oluwatosin, I just requested for access. I just requested for access. Can you try and give us access? Because I want this to be very practical as possible. That's why I am asking for a real CV that we can use. Real one. Okay, good. So I will then copy this whole CV here. This whole CV. I'll copy everything. And then I will put it here. I'll just put it here. And then it will now begin to adapt it. Because mine is quite very fast. So don't worry. It's adapting it now. What you will see here is that it's already using the same language, the same terminology, the same words, and it's aligning it with the expectation. So, for example, it's already using the things like freelance product designer, UX consultant. It's not changing the things you have done in the past. It's sticking to what you have done in the past. Sticking to what you have done in the past, because you can't lie about that. However, every content in your CV now aligns with what they're asking for. So if the HR managers take your CV and throws it into an ATS, right? And throws it into an ATS, the ATS platform will not delete your own. It will accept your CV because now your CV speaks to the things that the employer is asking for. Now, if you don't want to, this is a very good CV. Now, this is a very good CV. But if you don't want to take it to the next level, if you want to take it to the next level, you would then tell it to say, use hypothetical CV. Or you can say, create a hypothetical CV that takes my information with your information and align both to meet the job requirements. Then it will then merge the two. It will then begin to merge the two together and create that. So in the hypothetical situation, it's saying that you're a product manager, you're a UX strategist with 3 years experience. Now, if you look at your own CV, it's saying you are a product designer and a product marketing specialist. Why is it saying that? Because the CV you gave to me is only showing that you are a social media content person, a UI UX designer, product design intern. Your experience is product design, social media marketing. Products design, social media marketing. That is what your experience is actually showing. Now, but when I take your CV and then I say, hey, adapt your CV to show to me the type of CV I should be submitting, it then gives you this CV saying, well, this is your CV anyway, but your CV is still very narrowed because your CV is saying, oh, you're a product designer, you're a product marketing specialist. But then I know that it is sticking to what you have. But I want to take it to a lot higher now. I then told it, I said, no, create an hypothetical CV for me that will get this job. Take what I have and what you think I should have had. That was what I was talking about the other time. You can't apply for a job only with what you have. Hello, guys. You guys have abandoned me again. These people, where are you? You can't apply for jobs with only what you have. It has to be a combination of what you have and what you should have. You understand what I'm saying? What you have and what you should have. So when I then told it, I said, see, I know what you have given to me is what I have, but let me see, what should I have had to apply for this job? It then begins to say, okay, instead of you just being a product design and product marketing specialist with 2 years experience in creating an intuitive web design experience, this is what you should have had. You should have become a results-driven product manager and a UX strategist with 3 years experience in product portfolio management. You see the difference? That is why if this person had gone to submit his own personal, this is the CV you would then use. This one is what you would then use. But in reality, remember, you can't use everything because you don't have everything. So you take away the parts that you don't have, and then you stick to the ones that it suggests to you. That answers CV first. So now you've got your CV. Copy it, put it in the Word, convert it to PDF, convert to PDF. That's what you're going to go and submit. That is what you want to go and submit. That is for CV. Does that make sense? That is for CV. Then, so let me pick all the questions that I asked. Then I will say, okay, but I want to put the questions for you guys so that you guys can have it. You guys can have it. So these are the 5 questions that I asked, to arrive at a quality CV. First, I took the job description, analyzed it. I liked the core responsibilities, the roles, the expectations, the skills needed to land the job. I got that. Then I went to the next level. I said, imagine you are then applying for the role. What would you put in your CV? What will be in your cover letter? Show me, prove empirically, quantitatively, use numbers. Use numbers to prove to me that you can get this job. Then it created something. Then I took it to the next level. I said, okay, this is my own CV. Adapt it. These are the first 5 questions that you must ask. I'll put them in the chat room here. You can use Gemini. You can use DeepSeek. You can use ChatGPT. You can use any of those tools. You can use them. Number 1, you can use any of those tools. I just put the questions that I asked here. That is the first thing you want to do. Now, when you're done with that, the next thing you want to do is to say, hey, let's go straight to what? Cover letter. Now, let's say, now I am ready to go apply for a job. Write a cover letter for me. Now, another mistake people are going to make. They will then go and tell ChatGPT, write a cover letter for me. Remember, everybody is telling ChatGPT the same thing, to write cover letter for them. Now, write cover letter for me. You then instruct it. Number 1, the cover letter must prove that I am qualified without using buzz and marketing words. The cover letter must also, now before you submit this, I'm going to teach you 2 things that you will do before that. Must also show that I have the competence. This is called prompt engineering. You're training ChatGPT on what it should tell you. Otherwise, if you just go and blindly use it, you're going to be on the top 90% or the bottom 90%. The bottom 90%, they use ChatGPT without appropriately prompting it on what to say and how to write. They are lazy. They will just say, write me this. Shikena, lazy people. You can't get the best out of AI if you're just asking random questions, because it will give you random answer that it will give to Uchena, give to Abajide, give to Benga, give to Tolu, give to Kodri. It will give the same everybody the same response because you have not prompted it on now. So don't use ChatGPT blindly, guys. So I come here and say, the cover letter must show that I have the competence and the skill to access the job. The cover letter must also prove empirically and qualitatively, all my English, qualitatively, using short stories that I meet what the employer wants today and for the future. Now, before you give it this question, the first thing you want to give, I hope I don't lose that. Let me paste that somewhere here. Now, before you give it that, the first thing you want to do, I've messed everything up. Don't worry. The first thing you want to do is to say, review everything here in bullet points. What are the requirements, skills, and competences for today to access this job? And what will someone have for the future to continue to thrive in this role? Now, I'll tell you why this question is very important. This is the most important part of applying for a job. The person that is going to interview you first only cares about what you have today. You see, the guy that is going to interview is the HR manager. The HR manager. HR managers, they read the job description. They then use the job description to interview you. But you see, the third or the second person that is going to interview you is your direct supervisor or the vice president of that role. That person doesn't only care about what you have today, because the person has lived in the future. You remember that the person is higher than you. The person knows more than you. The person will then begin to care about the things that you should have in the future to continue to thrive in the role. Because the person knows that getting the job today is different from thriving in the role tomorrow. So if you come to me in an interview and then you're showing me, you're proving to me that you know the things that you need to have to sustain your role in the future, you will get it. Busayo, I'm here. I don't know if you're there. Adedayo, can you wave if you can still hear me? Okay, good. That means that other people should be able to hear me. So people come to the job interview room and they are proving to me that they have the skill for today. And I'm like, okay, that is good. But in your mind, as you're talking to me, as you're showing me, as you're sending me your CV, as you're sending me your cover letter, I want to be seeing, some points that prove to me that you are the candidate of the future. Let me give an example. Let me give a very interesting example. I interviewed someone for the role of an accountant. And then I said, tell me what you would do in your role. Give me your typical days. What would it be like? And then the guy went on and said, sir, thank you so much for the question. On Monday, I will review every transaction that happens over the weekend. And I'll make sure that I impute it in QuickBooks. And I would also make sure that you get, because you are the CEO, I'll make sure you get the management reports. I'll make sure you get the income statement. I'll make sure you get the profit and loss statement. At the end of the month, I would also look at our audited account, and make sure that I do what is called transaction reconciliation. As the guy was talking, I was bored. I was just saying, another accountant. Somebody says I'm breaking. Is it from my hand, guys? Okay, good. It's not me. Get yourself good internet. Glow. Stop using MTN. Get yourself good internet. So as the guy was talking, I was bored because the guy was telling me what the current accountant that was leaving is doing. Nothing special. You send me your detailed account, you send me this. My mind, I was like, then I went and I said, so, and then I went and I said, so tell me, what more would I get from you? He doesn't know what more I want. He probably is able to do it, but he probably doesn't know what more I want. He should have checked from the beginning to say, I'm going for this job interview. This is what these guys are looking for. But for this company to continue to thrive, what more do I have to have? So imagine if he had come to me and he had said, oh, so sir, 3 other things I think we need to get right. I don't know if we are already getting it right. But the first one is we need to be proactively, compiling all the documents that we need for audits so that we are not just waiting for the auditor to come. We already have our own internally structured and audited account. I would have been impressed. Imagine the guy had come to me and say, we need to then begin to create more policies to strengthen our financial and accounting governance. I would have been impressed. You need to know what it takes. So that's why you're asking this question first from ChatGPT, saying, review everything in bullet point. What are the requirements that are skills for today? And then show me for the future. Number one, like I said, 2 things before you go and write, what's it called? 2 things before you go and write the questions on, what's that question again? The question on cover letter. Yes, the question on cover letter. So it's given me competence for today must have. Number 1, product management, market research, sales enablement, data, Then for the future, you can see it's now going a little bit higher. AI and automation, advanced product analytics, behavioral economics, SaaS and subscription model, advanced digital marketing, cybersecurity. That is advanced. The guy that gets the job is the guy that then comes into the interview and says, see, this is where we are. I have what we have. I have what we need today. This is where we need to be. I also have it, or I'm building my capacity. So the guy comes into the room and say, so, I'll get to question and answer so that you would understand the kind of how to answer interview questions. I will get there. But imagine they ask the guy and they say, oh, so tell me, what do you do today? And then the guy goes on and say, this is what I do today, and this is how it aligns with what you want. This is what I am also doing today that aligns with what you would have. So imagine the guy comes and say, oh, I haven't done a lot of like product analytics actually, but I've worked on 2 projects where I spent a lot of time analyzing the dynamics of the analytics, understanding, our certain data points and the metrics for growth, and then I used that to work with other guys on the team to ensure that our product is built in such a way that it can self-grow. At the back of your mind, you need to think today and think the future for the employer when you're going. So we're going back to cover letter. I want to grab water because I'm already dehydrated. So guys, now this is one. This is one thing. You want to first ask ChatGPT to tell you what are the things they need for today. What are the things they need for the future? Now, the second thing you would then do is that find a cover letter that you have written yourself. Write a cover letter yourself without ChatGPT. Write one yourself. You to write one without ChatGPT. You write one without ChatGPT. Yes, write one without ChatGPT. You must have a cover letter written without ChatGPT. So let me go back to my drive and look for an old cover letter that I've written. Cover letter. This was a long time ago. This was without ChatGPT. You see, this was when ChatGPT wasn't a thing. Now, what I want ChatGPT to know is this. I will now say, I'll paste the one I've written here. The one I've written in the past. Then I will then paste the question I have. This question, I'll paste it here. Now I'm ready to apply for the job, right? That's the question, right? I'll paste it here. Now I'm ready to apply for the job. Write me a cover letter. Yeah, I will now say, this is the most important part of cover letter, guys. This bullet point. Use and follow my pattern style of writing. Adapt what you will write to my language, use of words, my format, so that it is not obvious that this is AI generated. Otherwise, people that are smart, that know when AI generates something, they can see that what you have written is AI generated. So you would then, now the question is this: I'm ready to apply for the job. Write me a cover letter. The cover letter must prove that I am qualified. Don't use buzzwords. Don't use marketing words. Because buzzwords and marketing words like, oh, Eitayo Ogumola is an analytical, Eitayo Ogumola is a critical thinker, Eitayo Ogumola, it sounds like Oriki. You understand what I'm saying? Yoruba people, I don't know if you know, when they are eulogizing someone, they say, oh, Odogu, President General among the nation. No. Nobody wants to see that when you are writing. When HR sees that, it's a turn off. It makes them know that you used AI to write it. So you have instructed it, don't use marketing words. Don't use buzzwords. That's number one. Number two is this. The cover letter must show that I have the competence today to get the job. The cover letter must also prove that I have, don't just theoretically say, oh, I also have, prove using short stories in between that I have the things that the employer wants. But most importantly, don't now begin to hallucinate and write in your own way. Use my own pattern of writing. Then you can say, see below my old cover letter and my pattern of writing. Then you submit. Make sure you write your own cover letter yourself. So it will then begin to adapt. I'm writing to express my interest in the role of product manager, student service agent. I find this an exciting opportunity. You will know that this is my language. When you see exciting, that is my language. Because I always use it. I must have used it in that previous one that I shared. Faith has abandoned us. See people waiting in the room. You know, I must have shared it before. You must have seen it. You know, to apply my experience, my journey has been a blend of, you know, now this is your cover letter that you're going to submit. This is your cover letter that you're going to submit. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'll copy this. You understand? I'll then go to DeepSeek. I know I love to use AI. As I was telling you, AI is the best. Now, I'm applying for this job vacancies. Analyze this and create a 10-point metrics for evaluating application with clear scoring points. Then I'll go back here. I'll paste this here. What I've told DeepSeek to do. DeepSeek is quite very slow. It's slower than ChatGPT. You can see it's loading. It's loading at the top. Loading. Now, it has created a scoring point for me that I want to use. A scoring point. This is a scoring point. Now, because DeepSeek is another LLM, so I'm trying to use another LLM. Okay? I will then copy my cover letter here and say, use the scoring point that you have developed to analyze this cover letter and score it. Also, identify weaknesses and suggest areas of improvement. I like this DeepSeek actually. It's just that I don't like free things. Free things always make me feel like I will get the same experience like every other person. So, I don't paste it there. I didn't paste the cover letter, so I edit it and paste the cover letter again. And then I will go here. Okay, I've pasted the cover letter now. It's going to score it for me now. It's going to score. So let's do a very quick summary of how we got here. Thank you so much for sharing your CV. The first thing we did was to come here to say, these questions are the most important thing you want to first ask. This one, I'll post that here. These questions. And when you're done with this, you then go to another level where you then say, hey, you know, you paste your own. And then you say, review. And then you go to another level where you then say, not done with you. You then say, you know, now. You paste this here. You understand? So at the end of the day, what you have is a format that can help you land a very good CV and a very good cover letter. Now, let's go back to DeepSeek. Now, DeepSeek has analyzed it. Now, DeepSeek is saying, Relevant product management experience, 7 over 10. The weakness is that lack of explicit mention of managing a product portfolio. And you can understand why, because the person that we used his CV was coming from a UI, UX, and social media marketing experience. So that's why that weakness is very clear, because the person was not able to prove explicitly an example of product. Okay. Improvement would have been highlight specific examples, product marketing, of course, because the person came from social media marketing, he was able to score more points here, 8 over 10, limited details on how value propositions were articulated. The big weakness is education. I knew that was going to happen because the person doesn't have any background in edtech, in education space, analytics. I would assume that the person would have 7 over 10 in analytics also, because you have managed social media platforms before, you know how to go back to the back end to see how the social analytics are doing. Okay, the communication presentation will be higher. Commercial, no. Social media, no marketing experience, no sales experience. Remember that in the job description, they wanted someone that could also work with the management to do a bit of, accounting, reports, and all those stuff. So this is the weakness, but I think this is still good. Overall, 1 over 10. DeepSeek evaluated ChatGPT. That's good. Okay. That is the first stage, and there are 4 stages. That is the first stage. Now that you are done with the first stage, what is the second stage? Now you have your CV. Now you have your cover letter. You have your CV. You have your cover letter. Now you have your CV. You have your cover letter. What is the next stage? You're expecting them to interview you. So you must be getting ready for interviews. Now, I'll take a short break and then we'll come back in 3 minutes. We'll go straight to interviews. If you want to grab water, get yourself a quick water. If you want to get a cup of tea, if you want to get a very quick, what's it called? Very quick, cup of coffee. Get yourself a cup of coffee. Okay, I think 91 people registered for this my session. How many people joined eventually? Let me see how many of you joined. 36. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. I wanted to add another resources here, but I just realized that I can't add another extra resource. But I will tell Faith to send these to everybody. This one. Okay, guys, let's take a very quick 5 minutes break and then we come back. 5 minutes. Oluwaseun, thank you for turning on your video. At least I can see your face now. Was it your CV that we used, right? No, not yours. Okay. Not yours. Not yours. 5 minutes. We're coming back in 5 minutes. So you. Guys, okay. Let's come back to the room. Be rounding up very soon. You just want to do 2 more steps and then we'll round up. 2 more steps and then we'll round up. 2 more steps. Okay. The first step is interview. So now let's go back here. I will then say, imagine you are the HR manager. And at the same time, imagine you're the HR manager. And at the same time, the VP product of the company. List the top 30 questions you will ask. You can choose any number you want to choose. 20, 10, 30, depends on you. List the top 30 questions that you would ask any potential candidate for this role. 30 questions. Did I say 30? Yes, 30. 30 questions for this role. Now, imagine you are the product manager. Imagine you are the product manager. What are the 30 questions that you would ask? So now I have my questions. So he has broken down the questions into different categories. Oh, these are product management and strategy questions. These are market research and competitive analysis questions. These are sales enablement questions. These are data-driven questions. Yada, yada, yada. He has them. Now, I would then say, use the CV, cover letter, and the responsibilities that you generated to answer these questions. Now, don't just tell it to answer this question. You need to guide ChatGPT on how you want ChatGPT to do your things. The best interview format. Who knows that interview format? The best interview format for answering, the best format for answering interview questions. The STAR model, right? The STAR model. So you go here and then you say, for each question, use the STAR model and approach. A little bit of storytelling so that the reviewer and interviewer can understand. Now, final thing you must say in this is that use a script format so that while I am attending to the interview, while I'm attending the interview virtually, I am able to respond to the questions. Now, the first question was, imagine you are the HR manager. That's the first question. Imagine you're the HR manager. The second question is, now that you've given me all the interview questions, now use all the CV and everything you've created now to then come up with answers to the interview questions. Then we have answers. I mean, because I'm using a much more advanced ChatGPT, it's like, giving me different. If you're using the free version, I would recommend that once you have all these questions Pick them 5 and tell ChatGPT to give you answers. So the question is, can you walk me? So you get into an interview and the person says, "Oh, the reason I said you should use a script model is that so that some of you that are smart here, when you're in the interview, you can have it on your screen." I always do it. Every of my interview. I'm not smart though. Everybody always think I can go and search for you. All my interviews in those days, interview script. Let me go and look for it. You can see 2018, 2021. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was applying for a program. I can't remember. I can't remember, but I've always had interview scripts. This is 2017. Yes, so you can see I was applying. Yes, I was applying for a job. 2017, Nandela. You can see all my interview questions. You understand? I even put it there. When I think of what Nandela needs right now, I think of 3 things. I always have script too. So when I'm getting into the room and they're asking me questions, I'm reading it. Don't go and be over smart. And then you rely on your brain. Sometimes you need the script. Now, so right here we have the answer. So I'm in an interview room, and then the question comes and say, "Hey, Tayo, can you walk me through a product that you've managed from ideation to launch? Can you walk me through a product that you've managed from ideation to launch?" And then I've given you that. See, the SMART model is what you must have at the back of your mind. What is the SMART model? SMART model is, number one, you have to describe the situation. So that the person, because don't imagine that the person interviewing you is that smart and the person understands what you are saying. So it's always good you start with, "Oh, this is the situation. This was the task that I was given, or the task that I had to do. This was the action that I took. This was the action that I took. This was the result that I got." So, thank you so much. Certainly. You can then use what is called pause. Pause is, I will still teach you next week on how to answer interview questions and how to prepare for interview questions and how to respond. All my tricks, I will teach you all those ones next week. So you can take a pause and say, "Oh, thank you so much. I really like that question." And then it's always good to mention the name of the person that asked you again, because it makes remember, we're all human beings. Everybody's human. Everyone is human being. No matter how great, no matter, everybody's human. If you mention the name of the person, you get the person's attention back to you. Number one. Now, I always like to make the person that asked me that question feel good about the question. So thank you so much. That's an amazing question. So one of the most impactful projects that I worked on was a learning management system, an LMS, a platform, while I was at Lambda Technologies. What I had to do was that the company wanted to create an LMS that will streamline, the entire student learning experience for the students and also for the instructors. However, the existing solution was quite too complex, and we didn't really have the intuitive user experience. My job, which was my task then, was that I had to first, define the product requirement, make sure it was very clear. I worked with a UI UX designer, collaborated with him. Then I ensured that I was the guy that oversaw the entire, development process. That ensured that it was seamless for both learners and users. So in terms of the work that I did, was that I developed and conducted user research, came up with competitive analysis. I did usability testing. So you can use that format to answer the question. It's the start. And then you get back to the last one, which is the result. And when the LMS was built, we saw about 30% increase in the way our students engaged with the platform. The first 3 months, that was really impressive. I really enjoyed that, and I also ensured that, we reduced the instructor onboarding. The platform helped us to achieve that by almost 40% because we moved from the old user experience to the new user experience. You need to have all the questions. So I have a lot of questions here. And you see, it couldn't give me 30. You see, it couldn't give me 30. I wanted it to give me 30, but it gave me 11. ChatGPT can hallucinate sometimes. It's also a lazy. ChatGPT can also be lazy. Like, I'm giving you 8. Rest, Oga. So you have to ask ChatGPT 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, so that it gives you everything that you need. Let me take questions. Anybody wants to ask me questions? If you want to ask me questions, please raise up your hand, and then we'll meet next week. I see Osarabo. Osarabo. Osarabo is not ready, right? Guys, if you have questions, it's either you drop it in the chat. Oh, you're muted. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can unmute some people. I don't think I can unmute you guys. I think it's only Faith that can do that. But if you can drop your questions in the chat room quickly, I would attend to them. Drop your questions.
Everyone can unmute themselves and speak. You have mic access.
Guys, my guy has spoken though. Please, if you cannot unmute yourself, please just drop me a question in the chat room. Now, because I mean, drop me a question in the chat room if you can't unmute yourself. Second thing I wanted to mention is this. Guys, we will meet again next week. Please come early to class. Come prepared. If you can do one, and I always encourage my students, please, guys, even if it is one, do one real life. So that you yourself, you have tested it, you see the way it works. Do one in real life. Don't just assume that you know these things. You get my point, guys. Do one. Please, do one. Don't assume that, it's easy. No. Don't assume that it's easy. Do one. Please, guys. No, it's the same time. We're meeting the same time. The same time, Faith is going to send an invitation. Now, guys, I need your favor. I need one favor quickly from you. One favor. Before you guys leave, because I'm trying to see the questions. Now I can't see the questions. But before you guys leave, can you quickly go into the chat room? I need 30 people that can give me answer to this. 30 people. How did you guys hear about Utiva? I know a lot of people want to ask me questions. Drop your questions in the chat room and then I'll be answering them. How did you guys hear about Utiva? Was he on which social media? If it was on social media, be specific. I want to know if you can remember. Okay. Someone says LinkedIn. Okay. Gladys says TikTok. Marvelous ChatGPT. Marvelous ChatGPT. That's not fair. ChatGPT. Is Francisco on this call? He's not. Okay. I really want to hear your feedback on that. So while you guys are saying that, let me put a screen here. The questions that you guys asked me, let me quickly begin to answer them. Oluwashins, what advice can you give someone who has never worked as a product manager but wants to do an internship before applying for a job? We've launched our internship program, guys. We've launched our virtual internship program. Start with our own virtual one. Do our own virtual one. Be serious with that one. And then put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. You will get an internship. Internship is easy as long as you can contribute value. How do we tackle roles we really want, but don't necessarily have experience fully? Tell ChatGPT to adapt your current experience to that experience. Adapt it. Adapt your current experience to that experience. Guys, please, how did you hear about Utiva? I want to know. I want to know how you heard about us. Okay. So I see a few response here. TikTok, Gladys. Say Gladys says TikTok. Luatosin says LinkedIn. Amen. Someone recommended you. Recommendation. Hude. Dami recommendation. Adidayo recommendation. Ali recommendation. Mobolanli recommendation. Gifts recommendation. Richard recommendation. Adolphus TikTok. Dami recommendation. Adeshua recommendation. Instagram. Uduka recommendation. Ubani Instagram. Okay. Maureen Instagram. Johnson recommendation from the siblings. Jessica, my cousin, recommended you again. Your cousin took a course with Utiva. Cynthia, you're from your aunt. Interesting. You even put in the name of your aunt. From my aunt Mona. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, that's so sweet. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, guys, we'll catch up next week, actually. Next week. We catch up next week. And by the time we catch up next week, guys, please do one. That's what separates. I said it in your time. I have learned that, of course, some people will not do. They will be believing in luck. Some people right now will finish with Utiva now and go and sow seed. Sow seed to the job so that the job will come. As you're sowing seed, do the work. Do the work. You understand what I'm saying? Oluwaseun, do you get my point? As you're sowing seed, do the work. Omobolale, you understand my point? Do the work. Do one. Pick a job vacancy. Go through the process. Go through the process. Go through the process. Take a job vacancy. Go through the process. Okay? We'll see you next week. Enjoy yourself and have a good time. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys.